Hello and welcome, people of the internet. Today we will make an out-to-be-up hack for Source games. So Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Source, Counter-Strike Go, all of them will work using this method. So let me show you guys. Final project. So this is just the client pointer, I believe, but don't worry about that. This program allows us to jump whenever we hit the ground. So we remain or keep the speed plus some more speed. So you can move faster than other people in the game using this. So this is essential for a multi-hack, let's say, for Counter-Strike. But let's get on with this. So this is I have also the ESP on. If you want to learn how to do that, I also have a video on that. But today will be how to be up. So let's get right into it. Before you start watching this video, make sure to right click on the Counter-Strike Source properties and add -insecure to the Steam startup command. Because otherwise you will probably get banned or something similar. We don't want to ruin the experience for others, and we don't want to get banned. So add -insecure. It will allow us to use it or use these applications on a local server. So let me close that down. Go outside that, and we will create a new project. So Visual Studio 2022. Create new. My bad. I have 2 monitors now, so I can work faster. We'll call this out to be up or whatever. It always ends up on my second screen for some reason. But take this new project and we can start coding, but we also need some addresses because we need to read whether we hit the ground or whatever we're on the ground or if we're in the air. So we will not jump when we're in the air, and we will jump when the player is grounded. Now, fortunately, we have a flag for that in the entity or in our local player. So we can check whether we're on the ground or not, and then we can force a jump, like you press the spacebar. We can do that by writing to an address, which has the number 4. When we write 5 to that address, the player will jump. So I can show you guys what I'm talking about. You have this +jump function in the game, which jumps or has the player to jump whenever we add or increment this jump value. But you also need to do -1 or minus jump before you can do another jump. So let's open Cheat Onion first and find our local player. Close that down. Counter-Strike. Yeah, and of course, before you open Cheat Onion, use -insecure mode. For God's sake. So properties -insecure. I will probably edit this in before the video starts so no one does or gets VAC banned. And I don't know if this is detectable or not, since I don't really use cheats in multiplayer. I only use cheats for my own sake and not to hurt anyone or their experience playing the game. But let's find our local player, which is 100. We search 100. We do hurt me. And now we have 90 health, so let's search 90. Type hurt me again. 80. Okay, so we have a bunch of addresses here. We don't know which one is the correct one yet, but we will start by viewing the memory region. So here is something Nothing changes when we look around. Something should change always. So nothing there. It was just one thing that changed. Not really, we don't have that much going on. Browse this memory region. Nothing there. So it's just trial and error. We're trying to find something that has more values that change according to what our player does. So here we have some values changing whenever we look around. We'll keep that in mind. So change the name to possible for that one. Browse this memory region. I suppose this one also. What does this one do? Browse this memory region. Nothing. Yeah, that one has a lot of changes. Probably browse this memory region. Nothing. Browse this. Yeah, this one has stuff going on. Nothing. Okay, so let's pointer scan for these ones. Pointer scan for this address. One level. Local player. Server.dll, probably not that one. Let's pointer scan for this next possible local player. Let's just override it. Nothing there. Pointer scan for this next to last one. Here we have one address with the offset 5C. It's probably not this one, since you usually find the entity list and the local player in the same pointer scan for source games. So we'll pointer scan for the last one, and this one will probably be it. Yeah, here we go. So we have 4 pointers which has the same offset. So these ones probably will have one local player. So let's remove the offset, browse this memory region, dissect data structures. And if you take a look here, there's nothing, or the pointer, or there is no pointer on the 10 bytes offset, which there will be if it's an entity list for source games. So if it was an entity list, you will find a player here, you will find a player here, if there are players, of course. This game that I have on has 2 bots, yeah, 2 bots on it, and they will show up in the entity list if it would be in that. Now this is probably the local player. We look at the offset 94, which was the health offset 94, 100 health. Now if we heard me, yeah, 90. So this might be the local player. We will use it, otherwise it would just be one of them else. But now we need to check for a flag which tells us if we're on the ground or not. I know that this value is 257 from earlier Bhop packs, so we will look for a value that changes when we're in the air. So this value is, or this offset has the value 257, but it doesn't change when we jump. So we'll keep on looking. Nothing yet. There's a lot of float values. Probably nothing here. There is a value that's 258, but it doesn't change when we jump, so we can't use that. 258, jump in the game, never mind where. Jump, nothing happens. Keep on searching. Offset 350, and it turns to 256 when we're in there. So we could read this address, take the value. So if it's 257, we make a jump, which will make the player always jump and not jump when it's 256. So it's also 261 and 263 when we're crouching. So if you wanted to make an auto be up with crouching available, or be upping when crouching, just add 261 and 263 in that if statement. But enough of that. We have our ground flag. So here is the local player. We'll declare it here. So int local player equals that, add an x, so we know it's hexadecimal. We have the flag offset, which is 350, like this. So we have the local player, we have the flag offset written down. Now we need to find the value which makes us, or our character, jump. So in source games, it's very easy to find this. Just search for 4. Let's close that down. Write in the console plus jump. Search 5. Now minus jump, it will go back to 4 because it's -1. And out of all of these addresses, it will be this green one. So actually a static address. So it's not hard at all, and it's also the same module. So we don't even need to get the engine.dll, for example. So integer force jump. Now we have all of the addresses we need and offsets. So we can get into coding. I can show you guys what happens if you change this. But let's change this to 5, which is +1. My bad. 5, and the character jumps. So if we do 5 and now we do 6, he will not jump because we need to set it back to -1. So yeah, he jumps now, but you need to do -1 to make him jump again. So now that we have all of the addresses and offsets, let's go into the coding part. Let's close that down, actually, we don't need it. For memory reading and writing, we'll use my own made library, so swed.32.dll. It can be found in the description. It's open source. It's very easily structured as well, so you can take a look at it and write your own and easily change it to 64-bit if you want that. But since we're using a reference, we have to add using swed32. We will also use system.threading because we want a cooldown between each loop. Oh, and we need to import. Hold on. Okay, now I'm back. We need to import user32.dll because we want to access extern. No. It's static extern short get async key state, and then keys v key. So we need to add, using system.runtime interrupt services, we also need to use system.windows.forms. Yeah. You can also use an integer, I believe. Then you need the key codes for the buttons on the keyboard. So we will use keys instead here, because we can just do keys.space, which is very easy to understand. Okay, now after we have declared all the addresses, let's get the client module, because we need to add, or we first need to combine the client and then the local player. We need to read that in a buffer, and then we need to add the flag offset to that to read this flag. So pointer client equals, actually before we need to do process and, or not really, we need to use swed equals, yeah, we need to declare it as an object so we can read and write. Now for swed.dll, to know which process we're talking about, we need to do swed.getProc or get process. Now we need to add the name, which is HL2, which is Counter-Strike source. Now that we have found, or we have gotten the process, we need to use swed.get module base. So the name of the module is client.dll. Now we can, or we have the base, now we can start reading. So we'll create a new buffer, which equals to swed.read pointer, and then the client, and now we add the local player. So we get a pointer, which we can use again later. Okay, so we have the buffer, and now we'll create a infinite loop while true. True will always be true, and we check if the user has the space key down. So if space is pressed, we read the game's memory. We will convert it to an integer because we will read bytes. So now, oh my, is it going to ruin the video? I hope not. Read bytes, and now we use the buffer declared here, and we use the offset for our flag. So we also read 4 bytes, and we convert it to an integer from the first element, which is 0. Now that we have our flag, we can check if our flag equals 257. If it equals 257, we will force a jump. So if we're grounded, we will do swed.write bytes, and now we don't need to use the buffer. We can use the client, and we use our force jump address. Now we write the new bytes. So if you remembered which triggered the jump, it was adding 1 to the 4, which is 5. So we'll always write 5 when we want to jump. When we want to get our jump back or do a minus jump, we write 4. So bit converter, get bytes, and then we're adding 5. Easy stuff. Now, if the flag is not that, I forgot to write else. If the flag is not that, which means we're in the air, we will write 4 instead. So we will reset our jump and we can jump once again. Now, I will add this sleep statement so we don't burn the CPU, I guess. Maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know. Let's test it out. So start. No errors yet. Let's pick a team. And if you hold space, the character will continue to jump. So now all you need to do is just strafe to gain more and more speed. Other games, this is way more better to use. Like in Left 4 Dead 2, you can jump with unlimited speed if you time these correctly. What goes on here? My ESP is set on a different resolution, or the window is in a different place. Don't worry about that. And if you want to make your own ESP, look for it in the description. But this is pretty much it. So, not hard at all. And not much code at all. I hope you guys like this video. For the next chapter in Source Games, I think we will do a simple aimbot. I don't know. Let me guys know what you think. You're the viewers. Alright, see ya.